Hello and welcome to 24/7 English. Let me ask you something. Have you ever listened to an English sentence, tried to repeat it, and then just froze? Maybe the words were too fast, or you weren't sure how to say them correctly. Or maybe you said it, but it didn't sound quite right. Don't worry, you're not alone. This happens to almost everyone when they're learning a new language. Today, we are going to explore a very simple but powerful method to improve your English. It's called Hear It, Say It, Learn It. And it can really change the way you learn. A lot of people try to study English by memorizing vocabulary lists or grammar rules. But the truth is, this is not how language is naturally learned. Think about how babies learn their first words. They don't start with grammar books. They start by listening, then copying what they hear, and slowly they begin to understand and speak. You can do the same. The good news is, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to practice in the right way. And that's what we'll do together in this video. So stay with me until the end, because we are going to break it down step by step. You'll learn how to train your ears to hear real English, how to say English words and sentences with confidence, and how to truly learn what they mean so you can use them in real life. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Hear it first. Why listening is step 1. We begin with the foundation of language learning, listening. Think about how babies learn their first words. They don't start by speaking right away. First, they listen. They hear their parents, siblings, and even the sounds around them. Only after they've heard the language do they start trying to speak it themselves. The same principle applies when you're learning English. Before your mouth can speak fluently, you need to train your ears. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for improving your English, and here's why. First, it helps you develop the correct pronunciation. English is full of sounds that might not exist in your native language. If you don't listen carefully, you might struggle with sounds like the t in this or that, or the difference between she and he. When you listen to native speakers, your ears get used to hearing those sounds, and your brain learns how to make them too. But it's not just about pronunciation. Listening helps you understand sentence rhythm, which is crucial for sounding natural. English has a particular flow that's different from other languages. For example, in English, we often stress certain words in a sentence to give it meaning. For instance, in the sentence, "I really love ice cream," the word love is stressed, giving the sentence its energy. If you don't understand this rhythm, your speech might sound flat or unnatural. By listening to English regularly, you'll get a sense of where the stress should be placed and how sentences should flow. Listening also plays a key role in building your vocabulary. When you listen to native speakers, you get exposed to new words and expressions in real-life contexts. You might hear a word you don't understand, but by paying attention to the surrounding words or the situation, you can figure out what it means. For example, if someone says, "I was exhausted after the workout," and you know the context is about exercise, you can guess that exhausted means very tired. This is how real language learning happens, through context and repeated exposure, not through memorizing lists of words. But here's the thing, just hearing English isn't enough. You need to listen carefully. This means being focused and engaged while you listen. So, what should you be listening to? Start with materials that match your level. If you're a beginner, listen to slower English, like podcasts or YouTube videos designed for learners. You can also listen to audiobooks, where the speaker goes at a more natural pace, but you can rewind if you miss something. Another great way is to watch TV shows or movies with subtitles in English. This lets you match the words you hear with the words you read. How often should you listen? The more often, the better. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day, consistency is key. Over time, you'll begin to hear patterns, understand the meaning of words, and feel more comfortable with English. Remember, you don't need to listen for hours every day. The goal is regular practice, even if it's just a small amount of time. If you can, try to incorporate English listening into your daily routine, while cooking, walking, or commuting. The more English you hear, the better your brain will get at understanding and processing it. And while you're listening, don't worry if you don't understand every word. The goal is to listen for the general meaning, the tone, and the main ideas. Over time, you'll start to catch more and more details. Don't get discouraged by the words you don't understand. Focus on what you can understand and keep practicing. Good listening habits will set the stage for all the other steps. So, start small, but stay consistent. It's like building a muscle. You won't see huge results after one day, but with regular practice, your listening skills will improve, and so will your confidence in speaking. As we move on in this video, keep in mind that listening is the first step in our hear it, say it, learn it method. And the more you listen, the more prepared you'll be when it's time to speak. Now that you understand why listening is so important, let's move on to the next step, saying it. Chapter 2. The Power of Repetition. Say it out loud. After you hear it, you need to say it, but not just once. The secret to improving your English speaking is repetition, saying the same words and sentences over and over again. This simple but powerful technique helps your brain and mouth connect, making it easier to remember the words and use them when you need them. In this chapter, we'll dive into why repetition is so important and explore different ways you can practice saying English out loud. You'll also learn how to make your speaking sound more natural, just like a native speaker. When you repeat a sentence, your brain gets a chance to process it deeper. It's not just about hearing the words once and moving on. It's about hearing them, saying them, and then reinforcing that learning over time. The more you repeat, the more automatic the words and sentence structures become. This is how native speakers build their language skills, by constantly hearing and repeating words in conversations. So, the more you say it out loud, the better you'll get at using it in real-life situations. One of the most effective techniques for repetition is shadowing. Shadowing involves listening to a sentence or conversation and immediately repeating what you hear, just like a shadow follows its source. You don't need to understand every word right away, but try to match the rhythm, pronunciation, and tone of the speaker. For example, listen to a short sentence from a podcast or movie. and then repeat it out loud right after. Focus on saying the words as closely as possible to the way the speaker says them. This helps you improve your pronunciation, get used to the rhythm of English, and also builds your speaking confidence. Another great technique is mirroring, which is very similar to shadowing but involves mirroring not only the words, but also the speaker's emotions and expressions. This is a fantastic way to learn how to speak with the natural emotion and tone that native speakers use. For example, let's say you hear someone say, "Wow, that's amazing," with a lot of excitement. When you repeat it, make sure to say it with the same energy. This will help you sound more like a native speaker, rather than just reciting words from a textbook. By practicing with emotion, you'll also get more comfortable using the right intonation, which is an important part of sounding natural. You can also practice speaking along with subtitles. This is a simple but effective way to improve your speaking while also improving your listening. Watch a video with English subtitles, and as the speaker talks, repeat the words as you read along. This way, you're practicing both speaking and reading at the same time. Over time, this helps you associate the written words with how they sound, which reinforces your vocabulary and pronunciation. Plus, you'll hear the words in context, which is important for understanding how native speakers use language naturally. Now you might be wondering, why should I repeat the same sentence multiple times? It's because repetition helps strengthen neural connections in your brain. Think of it like exercise for your mouth and brain. Just like lifting weights helps your muscles grow stronger, repeating sentences helps your speaking ability become smoother and more automatic. If you only say a sentence once, it might not stick. But if you repeat it several times, your brain starts to store it in your long-term memory, and eventually you'll be able to use it without thinking. In addition to repeating phrases and sentences, try to practice with different variations of what you've learned. For example, if you're practicing a sentence like, "I'm feeling great today," try changing it a little bit. "I'm feeling really good today," or "Today, I feel fantastic." This helps you expand your vocabulary and become more flexible in your speaking. But don't just repeat for the sake of repeating. Make sure you're speaking with purpose. Don't rush through it. Focus on the quality of your repetition, not just the quantity. Say the words slowly and clearly at first, and as you get more comfortable, try speaking faster, just like a native speaker would. Try to match their energy, rhythm, and pauses. If a sentence is difficult, don't be afraid to go back and repeat it several times until it feels natural. In addition, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Repetition is about trial and error. It's perfectly okay if you don't get it right the first time. Each time you repeat, you're getting a little bit closer to speaking more naturally and fluently. By practicing repetition regularly, you'll not only improve your vocabulary and pronunciation, but you'll also learn how to sound more fluid and confident when you speak. And remember, just like with listening, consistency is key. If you commit to saying things out loud every day, even if it's just for a few minutes, you'll start to see a huge improvement in your ability to speak English. So, start using repetition techniques like shadowing, mirroring, and speaking along with subtitles. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become in your speaking ability. Let's move on to the next step, learning it. How to truly understand what you're saying and connect it to your real-life conversations. Chapter 3. Learn it deeply. Understanding what you hear and say. Now that you've heard and said the sentence, it's time to understand it. In this chapter, we will go deeper into the meaning of the sentence, breaking it down so you can truly grasp not just what you're saying, but why it works the way it does. Understanding English isn't just about memorizing individual words. It's about knowing how those words fit together to form a message. This is where the real learning happens, and it's what will make you more confident and natural in your speaking. Let's start by looking at how to break down a sentence into smaller parts. For example, take the sentence, "I'm looking forward to it." This is a very common expression in English, but if you focus only on the words individually, it might be confusing. What does look have to do with forward? Why is there a to at the end? And what exactly does it refer to? The trick is to stop thinking about the sentence as a collection of unrelated words. Instead, look at it as a whole. "I'm looking forward to it" is a fixed expression in English, and learning it as a chunk is more effective than breaking it down into individual words. By learning it as a unit, you'll be able to recall it easily when you need it, and you'll sound more natural when you use it in conversation. Understanding language in chunks, or fixed expressions, is one of the most powerful strategies for speaking naturally. In English, there are many phrases and expressions that go together in a specific way. Instead of learning each word separately, learn the whole phrase as a single unit. For instance, instead of memorizing the words I, look, forward, and to in isolation, learn the entire phrase "I'm looking forward to" as one piece. When you know these chunks, you don't need to think about the meaning of each individual word when you speak. You just say the whole expression, and it comes out naturally. This method is especially useful when it comes to understanding grammar naturally. Rather than trying to memorize rules about when to use a certain verb tense, like the present continuous, you can absorb grammar through context. Let's look at that example again. "I'm looking forward to it." This is in the present continuous tense, and by hearing this phrase repeatedly, you start to learn when and how to use the present continuous naturally, without needing to memorize a rule. The more you hear it in context, the more you understand how it works. The same goes for other grammatical structures. If you learn phrases like "I have been waiting" or "she is working right now," you'll begin to naturally absorb the difference between the present perfect continuous and the present continuous tenses. You're not just memorizing dry rules. You're seeing how they work in real communication, and that makes them easier to remember and use correctly. One of the key benefits of learning through context is that it helps you remember grammar longer. When you study grammar separately from real language, it can be hard to keep track of all the rules. But when you see grammar in action, embedded in conversations, stories, or even movies, it becomes easier to recall. This is because your brain remembers how the language is actually used in everyday situations, rather than memorizing an isolated rule. Another important part of understanding what you hear and say is focusing on the meaning behind the words. For instance, in the sentence, "I'm looking forward to it," the speaker isn't just saying words, they're expressing a feeling of excitement or anticipation. Understanding the emotion or intention behind what someone says helps you communicate more effectively. When you say something, it's not just about the words, it's about the message you want to convey. So, when you repeat a sentence or phrase, try to focus on the underlying emotion as well. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Understanding the tone will help you sound more natural and connect better with others. So, the key takeaway here is to learn deeply. Don't just memorize words. Learn how sentences are built, focus on fixed expressions, and absorb grammar through context. Over time, this will help you not only remember what you say, but also use it more confidently and correctly in real-life situations. To practice this, start with simple phrases or sentences you hear often. Look at the structure, try to break it down into smaller pieces, and learn it as a whole. For example, take the phrase, "I'm looking forward to meeting you," and think about how you can use it in different situations. "I'm looking forward to seeing the movie," or "I'm looking forward to the weekend." Practice saying these phrases with the same tone and emotion that you would use in a conversation. By learning through chunks and understanding grammar and context, you'll be able to speak more fluently and naturally. This method also makes learning much more enjoyable because you'll start to understand how English really works, and that makes speaking feel less like memorizing and more like having a real conversation. Next, we'll move on to how you can apply this deep learning in real-life situations, making sure you can use what you've learned effectively. But for now, keep practicing breaking sentences into chunks and pay attention to the meaning and emotion behind the words. Chapter 4. Practice with Real English, Movies, Songs, and More. In this chapter, we're going to talk about something that's not only fun, but also super effective for learning English: practicing with real English materials. It's time to step away from textbooks and dive into the world of movies, YouTube videos, music, and podcasts. These are the resources that native speakers use every day, and you can use them to boost your listening, speaking, and understanding of English. Let's explore how to make the most of these resources in a way that works for you, no matter what your current level is. One of the best ways to improve your English is to expose yourself to real, natural language. Textbooks are great for teaching grammar rules, but they don't always capture the way English is actually spoken. Movies, TV shows, songs, and podcasts, on the other hand, show you how native speakers use English in real-life situations. They help you get used to the rhythm, the expressions, and the accents that you won't find in a classroom. The best part? You can enjoy these materials while you learn. But first, it's important to choose the right materials based on your level. If you're just starting out, listening to fast-paced movies or podcasts with complex vocabulary can be overwhelming. So, pick materials that match your current skill level. For beginners, slow, clear English is ideal. Look for podcasts or YouTube channels specifically designed for English learners. These often feature simple language, slow speech, and clear pronunciation. One example is language learning podcasts, which typically focus on beginner to intermediate topics. These podcasts might break down phrases and vocabulary in a way that's easier for you to understand. You can also find YouTube channels dedicated to teaching English, where the speakers talk slowly and explain things clearly, giving you a chance to hear each word and phrase more clearly. For beginners, movies and TV shows with simple dialogues are a great choice. Many TV shows and movies also offer the option of using subtitles, which is incredibly helpful for following along. The key is to use subtitles smartly. Don't just read them word for word. Try to match what you see on the screen with what you hear. Focus on understanding the meaning of the sentence, not just individual words. It's okay if you don't understand everything at first. What matters is that you're getting used to the natural flow of conversation. Once you feel more comfortable, try watching movies or shows without subtitles. This will challenge your listening skills and help you get used to the natural speed of speech. You can always go back and re-watch a scene with subtitles to clarify anything you missed. This back-and-forth practice is a great way to gradually improve. Another way to use real English to practice is through songs. Music is a fantastic tool for language learners because it's full of expressions, emotions, and natural rhythms. Plus, you can listen to the same song over and over, which makes it easy to pick up new words and phrases. Choose songs with clear lyrics and don't be afraid to sing along. Start by reading the lyrics and then listen to the song while following along. You'll soon notice that certain phrases and words stick with you. If you love a particular song, take it one step further by repeating lines from the song. This is a fun way to practice pronunciation and rhythm. For example, if you're learning the song Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, you can repeat the lines. I'm in love with the shape of you, and focus on the way the words flow together. The goal is not just to understand the words, but to mimic the tone, rhythm, and emotion that the singer uses. Doing this over time will help you sound more natural when you speak. Podcasts are another amazing resource for practicing English. There are podcasts for every level, from beginners to advanced learners. For beginners, choose podcasts that slow down their speech and explain things clearly. For example, podcasts like ESL Pod or The English We Speak are designed specifically for learners and provide simple conversations, vocabulary explanations, and cultural insights. For more advanced learners, you can dive into podcasts that cover topics you enjoy, like news, sports, or technology. Over time, your listening skills will improve as you get used to different accents, speaking speeds, and vocabulary. It's also important to remember that repetition is key. Don't just listen to a movie scene or a song once. Play it again and again. Each time you listen, you'll catch something new, and your brain will get better at recognizing patterns in the language. This kind of repetition helps build your listening comprehension and vocabulary, making it easier to understand and use English when speaking. The best part of practicing with real English materials is that it feels less like studying and more like having fun. Watching a movie, listening to music, or catching up on your favorite podcast becomes a way of learning without the pressure. Plus, the more you expose yourself to real language, the more you'll start to understand how native speakers think and communicate. You'll begin to recognize idioms, slang, and cultural references, which will help you feel more confident when you speak with others. So, what's the takeaway here? Start using real English materials, movies, songs, podcasts, and more to practice. Choose materials that match your level, use subtitles to help you understand, and repeat lines and phrases to improve your speaking. Don't be afraid to dive into the world of English entertainment. It's an enjoyable and effective way to learn. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to keep practicing English every day and how to stay motivated on your learning journey. Keep listening, saying, and learning. Chapter 5. Shadowing, the secret to natural speaking. Now that you've been practicing hearing and saying English, let's take it to the next level. In this chapter, we're going to explore one of the most powerful speaking tools available to you, shadowing. If you haven't heard of it yet, don't worry. Shadowing is a simple technique that can dramatically improve your accent, speed, and overall fluency in English. It's all about listening and speaking at the same time, like an echo, to mimic the natural flow of language. So, what exactly is shadowing, and why is it so effective? When you shadow, you listen to a sentence in English and repeat it out loud at the exact same time. You try to match the speaker's tone, rhythm, and pronunciation. The goal is not just to repeat the words, but to copy the natural way native speakers speak, the stress they put on certain words, the speed at which they speak, and the natural pauses they make. By doing this regularly, you can start speaking more like a native speaker, improving both your accent and your fluency. Why shadowing works. Shadowing works because it engages both your ears and your mouth. It forces you to listen carefully to how words are pronounced and how sentences flow. This immediate feedback loop helps train your brain and your muscles to produce sounds in a more natural way. Plus, it builds your confidence by helping you get used to speaking at the same time as listening. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll feel with the sounds and rhythms of English. When you shadow a sentence, you're essentially practicing real-life conversations. For example, you might shadow a character in a movie or a line from a podcast. You'll hear the sentence in a natural context and then repeat it, which is a great way to internalize vocabulary and expressions. Over time, this helps you become more confident in using those phrases when you're speaking on your own. How to shadow. Effectively now, let's break down how to shadow properly so you can make the most of this technique. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you get started. 1. Start slow. Begin by choosing slow audio, a podcast for beginners, a language learning video, or a short scene from a movie with clear dialogue. The slower the speech, the easier it will be for you to shadow. Find materials that allow you to clearly hear each word, especially if you're just starting. 2. Listen. First, before you start shadowing, Listen to the sentence or phrase at least once. Pay attention to the pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. Try to understand the meaning and how the words fit together. 3. Repeat at the same time. Now comes the fun part. Play the audio again, and as soon as the speaker starts, repeat the sentence out loud at the same time. Try to match their rhythm and pronunciation as closely as possible. It's like echoing what you hear, but with a focus on how the sentence flows. 4. Don't worry about perfection. It's important to note that shadowing isn't about being perfect. The goal is to practice regularly and get used to speaking at a natural pace. Don't stress if you can't match the speaker's speed at first. It will take time, and that's perfectly okay. What matters is that you're practicing. 5. Gradually increase speed. Once you're comfortable with slower material, you can start shadowing faster conversations. Look for content like TV shows, interviews, or real-life conversations where the speakers talk more quickly. This will challenge you to improve your speed and comprehension. 6. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Just like any new skill, consistency is key. Spend at least 5 minutes a day shadowing. This small amount of time can make a big difference over weeks and months. The more you shadow, the more fluent you will become, and the more your brain will get used to thinking in English. Using tools for shadowing practice. One of the great things about shadowing is that you don't need fancy equipment to do it. You can use anything from apps and videos to audiobooks. Here are some great tools to help you get started. YouTube. Many YouTube channels are dedicated to English learners and provide subtitles, so you can follow along while you shadow. Channels like English with Lucy or BBC Learning English offer clear audio that's perfect for shadowing. Language learning apps like Duolingo, Babbel, and Memrise offer great listening exercises that you can shadow. They often have sentences that are spoken slowly and clearly, which makes them perfect for this technique. Audiobooks. If you love books, you can shadow audiobooks. Platforms like Audible or LibriVox offer audiobooks for all levels. Start with books that you're familiar with and listen to them while shadowing. Podcasts. As mentioned earlier, podcasts are a fantastic tool. Look for podcasts with slow, clear speech and topics that interest you. For example, podcasts like ESL Pod or The English We Speak are excellent for beginners. The benefits of shadowing. The benefits of shadowing go beyond just improving your accent. Here are some of the biggest advantages you'll experience as you make shadowing a daily practice. 1. Improved accent. By shadowing, you will train your mouth to produce the sounds of English more naturally, improving your accent over time. The more you imitate native speakers, the better you'll sound. 2. Increased fluency. Shadowing helps you speak faster and more smoothly. It allows your brain to automatically access the right words and phrases without hesitation, so you can speak more fluently in real conversations. 3. Better listening skills. When you shadow, you improve your ability to understand spoken English. You'll get used to recognizing words in real conversations, even when spoken quickly. 4. Stronger confidence. Shadowing helps you build confidence. When you repeat after a native speaker, you start to sound more like them, which boosts your self-esteem when speaking in English. 5. Learning with emotion and intonation. Shadowing teaches you more than just words. You learn to speak with the same emotion and tone as the original speaker. This makes your speaking sound more natural and expressive. Conclusion. In this chapter, we've learned about shadowing, a powerful technique to improve your speaking skills. By shadowing, you can improve your accent, speak more naturally, and boost your fluency. It's an easy-to-use method that requires only a few minutes a day, and the results can be huge. So, make shadowing a part of your daily routine, and you'll see noticeable improvements in your English.